Hello, Professor, and thank you for joining me again for this other video. To top it all off, I think out of all the topics that we learned about, Euler's was definitely my favorite. I want to say it came to me the fastest out of everything else, simply just because pattern recognition, I love the way I managed to just pick it off straight off the bat, so I'm just gonna keep my work separate. Okay, so first one, as you've taught us before, info. So what do we know? So we know we have y prime to 2x minus y. We know h, or the step, equals 0.1. Let's see. We know, okay, we have y0 equals 3, and that's essentially 0, 3. I didn't write that. Because when y is 0, it equals 3. I love being able to understand what this all means. And so we also have our xo and our x, or y1. And so that's essentially what this is. And so there is a formula to this, which I'm very grateful for. And I'm assuming it's gonna, like, obviously the formulas that we're gonna get, the functions that we get right here are all, like, I'm pretty sure they're always gonna look different. But in the way that we get an h, a formula, and a coordinate, or I should say these. This is to what we're going to. And so I know from point 1 to point 4, we're gonna be doing this about like 3 times, if I'm correct off the top of my head. And so I don't know, I put 1 there, 0. I do like to highlight these just because it keeps my work very organized and I understand what is what. And then I like to use yellow for the x. And then we have a y, x. This is also going to be very essential to our formula. And so we notice that we're going to be plugging in, let me go back later. We have the y, we see here, so we're going to be plugging in the x and y into our function here. So we're going to take that down. It's going to be x is 0, so it's going to be 2 times 0 minus 3. And so right off the bat, boom, we get negative 3. And so there we go. This y prime is equal to negative 3. And so now that we have all the information that we need, we can go on and move to our next step, where we go from x0, y0 to x1, y1. Oh, excuse me, just ate dinner right now. And so we have our y1 here, let me write down the formula first. We're gonna have our xo, yo, and we're gonna have that be multiplied by x1 minus x0 plus y0. And we have just about everything in this formula except for y1. We have our x0, y0, x1, but no y1. And so that's why this is what we're trying to figure out to get us ultimately to whatever the output is when y is 0.4. So we know, again, as I said, I like to highlight. So this is going to be our green, our yellow, and our blue. Just because it's easy to keep track and everything. I like to do this one red too, so it doesn't feel excluded. And so, okay, we know right off the bat that this goes right here. So we can go ahead and plug that in and have y1 equals negative 3. And x1, so we have, let's see, we know that x0 is going to be 0.1. This is x1. We started off at 0. And we're going up by 0.1, and then we want to get a 0.4. Okay, and so obviously that's going to be 0.1 plus, and then what is y0? Oh, it's 3. And I'm going to continue to highlight just because it's nice to keep all my work organized. So we have yellow, so it's combined now. My green and my blue. All right, so far so good. And so from here, we just continue to work it out. And so we know that negative 3 times 0.1, just multiplying that, we're going to get negative 0.3 plus 3. And we're going to get 2.7. So we then get, what's x1? 0.1, and the y1 is 2.7. Okay, and now that we have these two, I like to just minimize my work so I can keep everything on one page. You can still see my work, but whoop, boom. Okay, we're going to go down to 3 because we're going to do this again. And we're going to go from x1, y1 to x2, y2. We're almost there. Let's do that. And so we have our So we have our, I also like to put this, okay, we have our 0.1, 2.7, and then I like to put this as 0.2, comma, question mark, because that's what we're solving for. So yeah, we're just solving for the same thing again. Y2, because we go up, y prime, x1, y1, and then x1, x2 minus x1 plus y1, boom. And then so we're going to be plugging this into the formula again, and we're going to get, let's see, 2 times 0.1 minus 2.7. This goes to 0.2 minus 2.7, and we end up with negative 2.5. Okay, boom. I'm going to highlight again, just so we can keep our work nice and organized. Red and yellow and blue. Okay, boom. And then sometimes it also helps for me to highlight what is what, and so I know where everything goes. Okay, so I can just plug this in, negative 2.5, and this is always going to be, oh, this is 0.2 is 0.2. Oh my god, I can't even write. 0.2 minus 0.1 was going to be 0.1. And then plus, what's y1? We look at this over here, 2.7. Boom, we just plug that in, 2.7. We're going to multiply 2.5 negative times 0.1, and we're going to get negative, a negative quarter plus 2.7, and we're going to get 2.45. And let me just make sure I'm doing my math correctly. Yeah, negative quarter plus 2.7. Yeah, 2.45. All right. And so this then equals, we have 2.2.245. Boom. And then we're at 0.2. We still need to go to 0.3. To x3, y3. And then we're still not up to the 0.4, so we're gonna need to do this one more time. So it's 0.2 to 45, going to 0.3 question mark. Same thing again now. We have our y3 equals y1, y prime, x2, y2, x3 minus x2 plus y2. All right, and highlight. It might feel a little repetitive, but I like the way it keeps my work organized, and I do not get lost, which is essential for me to get these problems correct. Just gonna downsize these a little bit, or a lot. Okay, again, we're gonna be plugging these into our equation, which is 2x minus y. And then, let me do this like right on top. Oh my god, okay. 45, we get 0.4 minus 2.45, and then that equals, calculator, negative 2.05. And boom, that's our, okay, we plug that in right here. Always gonna be 0.1, and our y2, as I pointed out earlier, 2.45. Okay, let me just do the math now. Negative 0.205 plus 2.45. Boom, we get 2.245. And now we have 3.3.245. Here we go. One last time. I could honestly stop here, but finish it through. I'm gonna go x2, x3, y3 to x4, y4. Okay, and then as I meant, okay, we have 0.3 to 245, and we want 0.4, and we are looking for that. So y4 equals y prime of x3, y3 times x4 minus x3 plus y3. Again, oop, wrong button. There we go, green. And then, you know, it's going to be 0.1, so we can just put, but we do have to plug these in to 0.3 minus, yeah, it was minus 1, if I remember correctly, yeah, 2.245. And calculator, we're going to get 0.6 minus 2.245, and we're going to get negative 1.645. Boom, we're going to plug this right back up here, 1.645 plus y2, which is 2.245. Okay, now we do that, and we get, this is going to turn into negative 0.1645 plus 2.245, and that's going to get us 2.0805. All right, and so ultimately, at 0.4, but let me put this in purple because it's our ultimate answer, we get this. And this was just like a problem to figure out, but obviously depending on what the word equation was, we would have to figure out what the x is for, like what x and y represent. And yeah, this is Euler's method, and I hope you enjoyed.